Hey everyone, it's been a month, I think, since the last Marvel thing that was released. Today was the series premiere of Loki, which is a show I've been waiting for a while, which we've all been waiting for a while. This is really exciting. I'm switching up my setup a little bit. I'm putting the mic in the frame right here. Let me know what you think. Does it sound better? Do you see a difference? Does it get in the way? Is it distracting? Let me know. But I am excited to talk about this episode. This is just a spoiler talk. I'm not really going to do a full breakdown. I'm just going to talk about the things that stood out to me. If you haven't seen the episode, go watch it on Disney Plus and then come back here because you do not want any of this spoiled. I think this is going to be a really good show, sort of in the vein of WandaVision, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a lot more I won't say toned down, but it was a lot more of what we were used to in the normal Marvel thing, more like Captain America, Iron Man, WandaVision, and now this are kind of the weirder shows that are going to be a lot wackier. I think things are going to go in a crazier direction than they did in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I definitely think this is a show you want to keep up with week to week. So this series picks up after Endgame, sort of. Basically, we're following the alternate timeline version of Loki, the variant version of Loki, who escaped during the events of Endgame. He grabbed the Tesseract while they were trying to take it during the heist, and he used it to escape. He ends up in the desert, and the Time Variance Authority finds him and arrests him for being a time variant and for messing with the timeline. Of course, he has no idea who these people are, and this episode is mainly about him discovering and us, the audience, learning about who these people are, because up to this point, they have not shown up in the MCU at all. But as we learn in this episode, they are a very, very powerful force that influences almost everything. And they are fully aware of everything that's happened in the MCU up to this point. They've almost, in a way, sort of controlled it or managed it to make sure it all went a certain way. So even when the Avengers went back in time to sort of not really alter events, but to take the Infinity Stones and bring everybody back, that was all part of their plan. And Loki is learning about this as he's going through basically the check-in process of being a prisoner here at the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. So right off the bat, one fun thing that I liked was this little intro video that they had in the lobby area or the waiting area of the TVA as Loki has gone through these different stages where they took his clothes off. They basically lasered off his clothes, gave him the uniform, made him sign some paperwork, which was really weird. And then he ends up in this, well, actually before that, there's this little scanner thing and the guy's like, do you have any robot parts in you? And then he has this kind of moment where he's like, well, wait, am I a robot? And then the guy was saying that if he goes through this machine, not knowing if he's a robot or not, it could potentially kill him by walking through. And so he has this kind of weird moment where he's like, well, am I a robot? What if I don't know that I'm a robot? And then he tries to walk through and then it's fine, but it's really funny. So then he gets to this one point where there's a line, but it's only just him and this one other guy, and they have to take a ticket to go up to the front. But this other guy is very defiant, doesn't want to take his ticket, and when he gets up to the front and doesn't have his ticket, he gets killed, I guess. I don't know what happened to him. He got vaporized. I'm not sure if that teleported him somewhere or if he actually was killed. I don't know. But Loki takes his ticket because he doesn't want to end up like that guy, which is really funny. But I also liked, now going back to what I was saying before, there's this intro video, a little cartoon explaining who the Time Variance Authority is, how it all got started, and what their goal is. And the narrator of this is this little mascot named Miss Minute, who is played by none other than Tara Strong, voiced by Tara Strong, who we know from so many things. This woman was such a big part of my childhood, and even before I even realized it. She played so many iconic characters, so it's great to see her finally in the MCU. She's done some stuff with DC, she's done some stuff with other superheroes and other cartoon characters, but it's cool to finally have her in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I mean, she may have been there at some point and I didn't know, but as far as I know, this is the first time she's been in an MCU proper show or movie. So basically, this intro video is explaining that the world was essentially a mess before. The universe was a mess, and there were so many branching off alternate timelines creating this crazy multiverse. So the Time Masters came together and said, we're going to make this one timeline where everything is going in one straight line instead of this giant mess. And that is the sacred timeline, which the TVA is trying to protect, and Loki was disrupting by leaving with the Tesseract. And so their goal is to keep everything in the flow of time correct, right? Loki ends up in court and he's trying to plead that he's not guilty of whatever they're trying to say he's doing. And he does try and throw the Avengers under the bus, which is kind of funny. But they explain that the Avengers' actions were part of the plan, that they knew that was going to happen, that was supposed to happen. But Loki escaping was not part of the plan, so he's in trouble, unlike the Avengers. And this is interesting because this is the Loki from before Ragnarok, before Dark World, and he's evil still pretty much, and he's only trying to serve himself. He wants to be the ruler of the world, and they get into why that is, which I thought was really probably the best part of this episode. But again, he's trying to make his case, trying to talk about how he's so great and that he's not responsible for any of this, but of course he is. And now Owen Wilson as Agent Morbius saves him from being taken to jail or wherever he was going to go as a result of the judge ruling him guilty. So then Agent Morbius is there kind of interviewing Loki, showing him parts of his past and trying to explain, why did you do this? Do you like to hurt people? That was the big thing about this episode, is trying to figure out the why, and does Loki actually enjoy being evil and hurting people? And that was probably the most interesting part for me, which is trying to figure out Loki's true motivation at that point, because we knew a little more about it later on in future movies, but this is Loki that didn't experience any of that stuff. So this is kind of just getting into more character development of the 2012 version of Loki, basically. During this interview process, Morbius tells him that he actually killed his mom, or was the reason why his mom was killed. And of course, he doesn't believe him because this hasn't happened to him yet. But of course, Morbius shows him the footage receipts, and it like breaks him, right? And then he escapes and then comes back into the room and plays with the machine again and continues to watch more of his future, and he sees that he's ultimately killed by Thanos. And I think the big thing about this episode is just Loki realizing how truly powerless he is compared to these people, because another fun thing that they showed is that they have a collection of Infinity Stones, and one of the guys there says they actually use them as paperweights. Like, these are some powerful people, but they can use Infinity Stones as paperweights. That really puts in perspective. And then on top of that, Loki seeing that he ultimately comes to an end, his life comes to an end, everything he's fighting for is almost essentially meaningless because his life just ends right there at the hands of Thanos. So it's kind of this big existential thing. He's really thinking about, why am I the way I am? What is the point of all this? Can I really fight against these people? And you really get the scope of how powerful the Time Variance Authority is. But you see that Morbius is actually trying to recruit Loki for something else, because there's something else out there that they're trying to fight. You see a little hint of it early in the episode where they come across this little girl. So he asks this little girl what happened, what is going on, what happened to these people, who killed these people, and she points to this little stained glass design on the wall that has a devil creature on it, which I feel like is fueling the Mephisto fire once more. Marvel knows what they're doing. I don't know, maybe Mephisto is truly a part of the series. Who knows, but I feel like that's just adding more fuel to the fire, and people are going to really go crazy with it. Actually, I think earlier today I saw Mephisto trending on Twitter. So you know what? Marvel, what are you doing? I mean, if they're going to actually show them, that's really cool. But if they're not going to do it again, they're just trolling us, that'd be kind of trash. I don't know. But we'll see where it goes. But ultimately, it turns out that the TVA is actually going after Loki. Now, I know from set pictures and some rumors here and there that potentially other versions of Loki will be in the show. But I'm not going to say for sure because I don't want to spoil it for people who don't know. So if you don't know, don't worry about it. But you'll see more. But that's interesting that he's basically helping them find himself, or another version of him. We'll have to figure out what exactly that is. Some other cool things about this episode that I just liked randomly. I like the whole technology of this place, of the TVA. It's so cool. They have this neck piece thing that basically prevents prisoners from escaping, because they just click the remote and it like sends them back to where they came from. So if I'm sitting in this chair and I try to run away, they would click it and then it'd come right back to the chair. And eventually Loki uses this on one of the guards to try to escape, which was kind of an interesting scene, just the whole going back and forth thing. There is the DB Cooper part where we find out that he was DB Cooper, I guess, posing as him as a result of a bet with Thor. And so he lost a bet or something, so he had to do this thing where he robbed the plane, and then escaped and was taken back to Asgard. So that was another fun thing that they did. So overall, I'm really excited for where the show is going to go. I thought the first episode was really good. I really loved how they delved into why Loki was the way he was, and he ultimately came to the conclusion that he didn't, in fact, actually like killing people, hurting people, that he just felt like he had to. And it was really cool to see him in this situation where he felt almost powerless, because he realized how crazy powerful these people are around him, that they could just have Infinity Stones as paperweights. I love that. I love the use of technology here. I like the little gadgets like the gun stick things they have. I liked the collar thing that kind of like shoots them back to where they came from. That stuff's really cool. And I am really interested to see more of this world, or this part of the MCU. And also want to see how this Loki thing ties in. Like, who is this other Loki, and what or where did they come from? Is this an alternate timeline Loki, another variant? Again, there's set pictures and rumors and stuff, but I don't want to go too deep into that, so hopefully we'll just be surprised. But if you already seen that, then you already know what I'm talking about. But overall, I think this is a really fun show, and I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of this episode of Loki down in the comments. You can put spoilers down there because this is a spoiler video, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, beware of the comment section because there'll probably be a lot of spoiler thoughts down there. But thanks for watching. I will see you next week for the next episode. Peace.